human being treated like a pig.
Kolani says he's been stripped of his dignity.
Kolani was dragged naked from his home in Kalichip.
Ngumafrika ubulalani Kolani ngihlala eThembeni informal settlement Ward 95.
Inhlungu yami ayisiyo yami kuphela, elizwe lonke, efamily yami yonke, eyabantwana bami bonke. So leli thingo uhlazo yayilenzele mina zange ithathe isidima sami kuphela, yasithatha kuphela, yathatha isidima sabantu abamnyama bonke.
As a Sea Point resident, I really believe the Tafelberg site must be released for social housing, and it should be the first of many sites that should be released in the city, and we need to take a really integrated approach to housing for working class people, for homeless people. We want integrated suburbs, and please stop fighting this in court and make it happen.
My name is Elizabeth Koboka. I work here in Sea Point. I stay in Greenpoint. If it wasn't staying at the occupation, there wouldn't be a place for me. To even tell you my story with an ocean view, because I wouldn't be expected to be commuting long hours going outside of the city. For many years, I've been working in this area, but not fit to stay here. Being able to stay close to where I work has meant I am closer to good health care, social amenities, and the beach. The little things people take for granted, we want to enjoy them as well. On Monday, I will be at the Supreme Court of Appeal because the province and the city are appealing some parts of the Tafelberg judgment. This is another delay tactic for them not to deliver housing on their Tafelberg side. Because the judgment has set aside the sale, if you go onto Tafelberg right now, there is no brick laid for housing at all. Premier Windy, many like me, domestic workers, petrol attendants, teachers, nurses, want to stay closer to where we work. We want to say to them, release the Tafelberg site right now.
Do you know where you are gathered? You are gathered in District 6.
Yes.
Do you know why it was called District 6?
No.
They couldn't get a name for the 6th district. So they just called it District 6. But that is the arrogance and the attitude that existed already then. These people, these poor people, they don't need a name of a place to stay. So you are gathered in a space that historically represents a form of resistance to the land crisis already.
My name is Yusra Bardin. I'm from Indibano Yabahlali and I do communications and engagements.
I'm Robin. I'm a researcher at NU. At the center of the gathering, we were launching an online interactive people's land map. It's been a 5-year process of manually mapping vacant and underutilized public land across the city that showed us that in total we have more than enough vacant and underutilized public land to drastically restructure and tackle spatial apartheid. So that was really the center of the gathering. But aside from that, we had many conversations about how do we find solutions for homes that work for people, where do we find money for building affordable housing, how do we, from all of our different positions in society, contribute to a more spatially just city, and also the gathering was just about bringing people together.
Welcome to Land and Housing School Camp of 2023. But before we start on how we arrived here, let's first look back at the 2022 Land and Housing School Camp. Participants identified key challenges faced by their communities and discussed ways that education could build power to help us cross the river of these obstacles. Some key ideas came up at the camp, including consistent workshops, a youth space where they could be taught skills, for example, photography, videography, and the power of social media, just to mention a few. So what has happened since then? About 2 weeks after the 2022 camp, leaders held the first meeting of a platform for joint reporting, planning, and action that they decided to call the Solidarity Space. Meetings have been hosted in different communities at least once every 2 months. This platform took a leading role in organizing some big achievements. 1. A joint march to highlight the struggle for dignity in support of a damages case being launched by Bulelani Xolani against the city who evicted him illegally and traumatically during the COVID-19 pandemic. 2. A visit to the First Thursdays where leaders from Seapoint challenged the Premier of the Western Cape on delays developing social housing at the Tafelberg site, despite Reclaim the City having won their case in 2020. Also, the Solidarity Space was involved in a march of over 1,000 people who marched to the presidential residence to launch the People's Land campaign. In February 2023, young people who attended the 2022 Land and Housing School Camp met to create a joint platform to bring youth from different communities together. They invited others from their communities to get involved by hosting meetings in their occupations. With the support of Ndifuna organizers, these young leaders have organized 1. 10 joint sessions to plan, learn, and reflect during the year. An education camp for 25 young people from different occupations to learn about land and housing issues. And internal meetings to talk about other young people in their occupations. 4 workshops to learn storytelling skills using writing, photography, documentary, and social media. In June 2023, Ndifuna launched a series of 6 educational workshops focusing on contemporary land and housing struggles in South Africa. 65 people from all the movements and communities involved in Land and Housing School registered to take part in these workshops. Every workshop was planned by 2 NU staff members and 2 community leaders. The series included, just to mention a few, a full-day workshop reviewing land reform with a focus on urban land reform since 1994, held at the Sisigo House occupation in Woodstock, and a full-day workshop looking at alternative ideas of ownership at Ahmed Kadrada House occupation in Seapoint. Leadership development. A key moment for this collective's leadership journey was a learning exchange visit of representatives from each movement to Yabahlali baseMjondolo in KwaZulu-Natal. This was an opportunity to learn from South Africa's largest social movement in the process of organizing the 2023 Unfreedom Day March. Leaders from Cape Town joined Yabahlali baseMjondolo community mobilization for the march. They also visited the Frantz Fanon Political School to learn about Yabahlali baseMjondolo's occupations and heard about Yabahlali baseMjondolo's leadership structure and how they educate members. We celebrate the achievements of all the leaders who pursued these excellent self-development opportunities.
We did not make a mistake to come out here today. Although the auction still continues there inside, we also know the arrogance of the city. when it comes to disposing of land and property. And this also brings us back to the very important Tafelberg case in Sea Point, where the city is saying that we can't really tell them what to do with their own land. But we also know, comrades, that we're in the middle of a housing crisis that the whole of Cape Town faces.
What the city has actually continued to do through their local level legislation is to dispose small pieces of land here and there, small. But every single small piece of land, when you add them up together, is a lot of land that they're just disposing behind our back. It's situations like this where you actually have an extremely exclusive, unaffordable city, and you would think, oh my goodness, the city has a commitment towards affordable housing. We only have such a little bit of land in the city. Let's keep this land. No, they're thinking, no, it's in a prime location. Let's generate the highest value. You know what the starting bids for this new Church Street's properties were? 10 million. The government sells prime, well-located land. People are forced out into the periphery or onto the waiting list, and then they die on that waiting list.